Hey everybody, it's Ruth the Traveling Quilter. Happy Wednesday! So today for Wednesday's Quickie, we're going to do drawstring bags. So I have a couple of examples here. These are fully lined drawstring bags. You can make them in any size you need, from this little bitty one here that you could use for jewelry or little candies. Just draw that up. Here's another one, and this one is, so I'd say like 10 inches. So your hair dryer, your underwear to pack, whatever you need to put in there. But now we're going to make a big drawstring bag. So I have a single piece of fabric here. This is my outer fabric, and this one's about 16.5 by, let's see, 40. So it'll be about 20. It'll end up 16.5 by about 20. So you're going to cut your single piece of fabric however big you want that to be, okay? If you have a directional fabric, you'll need to cut 2 pieces and then put them with your right sides up facing and draw or sew a middle seam right down the middle where you cut it, so you have both sides going the right direction. And then you're going to need lining fabric, and your lining fabric is going to be the same width as your fabric, and then whatever half of the width is plus a ½ inch, okay? So just to lay your bag out, so lay your main fabric out, and you're going to take one of your lining fabrics and lay it right sides together with your outer fabric, and just get those even, and we're going to sew one side of the lining fabric to one end and one side to the other side. All right, so I brought this over the sewing machine and I have right sides together here. You can pin this along. I'm just going to hold it in place. Let me gather that up so it doesn't fall off. And we're just going to sew a 1/4 inch along here, along this shorter edge. And we're going to do that to both ends. So I just made the length of this pattern up. I'm not sure how it will really turn out, but this doesn't take long at all. There we go, there's one side. And let's sew this other one to this other side. Just get those sides together here. This works really well with fat quarters, so you could use 2 fat quarters for your main fabric. Just sew them together, because you can have a seam along the bottom, it doesn't matter. And then a fat quarter for each of your lining pieces. And then you'll also need about a 4-inch piece of fabric that you can make into the drawstring, or you can use some rope, twine, ribbon, whatever you want to use for your drawstring. For this one, I'm just going to use the same blue fabric I have here for my inner fabric, my lining. That's going to be my drawstring also. Okay, I'm going to take this over to the ironing board and just press that flat, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've pressed this flat, pressed it towards my main fabric, and now we're going to bring everything right sides together, one big piece. And I already had a pressed line along the bottom of my fabric. So everything's right side together, and we are going to go and we are going to sew. Let me put this down here. We're going to sew all the way around, but we're going to leave about a 2-inch opening in the lining fabric, and then that will be the top of our bag. So we're going to do a little marking here. So first, let me just get a couple pins, and we're just going to pin this so it's together in the right spots here. Just put a pin in your seam. So I don't know if this is the same bag you made in 4-H. It's very similar to the one I made in 4-H in 3rd or 4th grade. And there's all kinds of ways you can do these. This one just takes a few minutes. Takes longer when you have to talk about doing it than actually doing it. So there's that. And then just so I remember to leave my opening here, I'm going to put a couple of pins down here. And see this one, let's see, get it all even. I might trim that off because I might not have trimmed it even. Okay, so we're not going to sew right here. And then up here on your top fabric, you're going to need a place to have your casing for your drawstring. So depending on how much of a ruffle kind of you want here at the opening, that's how far you would put that, okay? So on this little one here, I have lines about 3/4 of an inch down and then another 1/2 inch down from that, just so you can get 2 pieces of cord through there. So this one, I think I'm going to make it, we'll make it like let's put it 2 inches down from the top. So I'm just going to make a mark right there. This is just a regular pin. It's going to be on the inside. Nobody's going to see that. And then just another inch down from that. So lay your ruler there, inch down, inch there. So we're not going to sew right here where these marks are that I just made on either side. So let me just put a couple of pins in right there to remind me not to sew there, because I will do that. I would sew that right closed. But we're going to sew 1/4 of an inch all the way around our bag here, okay? So I've got my pins, and then I'll meet you back over here at the sewing machine. Okay, so I'm starting right above my casing pins here. I'm just going forward, back stitch a little bit, come up to that pin, back stitch. Then I'm just going to raise my presser foot up and pull it through. Not even going to cut my string or my thread. Do a couple more stitches and a back stitch. And then we'll just zip all the way down here. Now again, if you have directional fabric, you're going to have a seam along the bottom here, because you want everything facing upwards if it's directional. And I am going to cut my thread right there. And we're just going to start back across the other side. Back stitch again. All the way up to your casing line, back stitch and go back again. Lift your presser foot and then put your needle down right where you had that line. And I did put pins at the bottom here, just to hold it together. And I'm going to backstitch on the corners. Not going to have anything so heavy in here, it should matter if you backstitch to hold it stronger or not. If you want to get real fancy with these bags, you could do a box corner. I'm not doing box corners today. There's all kinds of tutorials on doing box corners. But you just bring your seam up to your side seam. I'll show you how real quick when we get there. But I'm not going to box these corners. And that's my opening pin. Now I thought that was a little too much. We're almost done going all the way around here. Okay, so we've gone all the way around. And I'm just going to cut a couple of threads here. This is just where I picked up my presser foot and pulled my thread through, so it just makes some longer threads. So I'm just going to cut those off. Okay, so if you wanted to have box corners, so a square bottom bag on all your corners, top and bottom, you just separate your two fabrics out there and say just do it. There we go. And you bring your bottom seam up here. Can you see that? To your top seam, match those up so you have a little triangle here. And then you measure in. Depends on how deep you want that box corner to be. But on here, probably 1 inch or 2. So from your corner, measure 1 inch, draw a line, and then sew directly on that line and cut that off, and you'd have a box corner. But we're not doing the box corners today, so we're not going to worry about box corners. This is just going to be a bag. So now to find where my open spot is on my lining, we're going to pull everything through, and you can snip the corners here. Just don't snip through your seams. Snip your corners off just so it's less bulky. And we're going to reach all the way through. This is like turning the bags, turning the pillowcases. We're going to turn it through. I'm just going to gather it up here. And I'm going to push the corner through first. So there's the top of my bag, one corner. Let's get to the other corner. Push that one through. And you can use a point turner if you need to, or a chopstick, a dull side of an ink pen, your scissors if you're really careful. So pull that all the way through. Like all the other projects, the pulling this through is the hardest part if you don't leave a big enough opening. All right, we got that all turned right side out. Now I'm pressed, and right here's my little opening in my lining. So if you just put your fingers in there and pull, that'll just turn down your seam. I'm going to put that under my sewing machine needle and just sew that down right, probably at 1/8 of an inch. You can do that by hand if you wish to, but I'm going to just do it on my machine. It's the inside of a bag that it's not for show. So back and forth we go with that. And the bag is done except for doing your casing lines and putting your casing in, and then you'll have a little drawstring bag. So pull that open and tuck your lining in, kind of like doing the pillowcase. Just tuck it in. And roll that seam around here, and you can iron that flat here, but let's get it tucked down in here. Okay, so you can feel on the inside lining your seam up with your outer seam, your inner seam. Line that up. And then I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine, or to the sewing machine, the ironing board, and just press that flat. Okay, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so I got that all pressed flat, so I'm going back to my machine again, and I'm going to sew 1/4 of an inch away from the top edge, just to top stitch that. And I'm sewing on the inside of my bag. It'll look just fine. Nobody will know that was the bobbin thread on the outside. If you're doing those little bags, make sure you're holding your top way up out of the way or you'll sew your top to your bottom. Just ask how I know. So this is almost a pillowcase. Let me snip my extra threads here. Alrighty. Then we just have to do a couple little marks, and then we'll be doing our casing and sticking our drawstring in. So, okay, so you've got your the holes that you left that you didn't sew up your sides. So this is where the casing line is going to be. So you're going to need to sew 2 lines right in here. So you can take a erasable pen and draw this line from that side to this side. Just find the top of your other line here. But I'm just going to use the lines on my machine, and I'm going to take the arm of my machine off here. If you don't have an arm that's removable, well, actually I'm not on this one. But if you don't have an arm that's removable, you can just hold things open here. So here is the top of my line here, and I'm going to line that up under my needle where the top of that opening is. And then I have a line on my machine. You probably can't see it, but you can also put a piece of tape down, painter's tape or washi tape down on your machine just to mark where your line needs to be. And then you just follow the line and make sure everything's tucked under there so we don't sew what doesn't need to be sewed in. So more than watching the needle, I'm watching the top of my bag here along the line of this bed. And just make sure and keep it pulled under or pulled out from under. And just turn it and turn it. Keep it flat there. Right there, I'm getting real close to getting that bottom tucked in. So I'd have my bottom sewed to the top. I got a blue ribbon in 4H on my little bag as a first project. And right here's where my casing is, the hole is. I don't know if you can see where my finger is, so I'm a little bit above that, but that's okay. As long as you're not sewing the casing spot closed. Get down here. I was gonna go do another shop tour yesterday. Kind of thought about doing that, but it was Monday, well, 2 days ago, Monday. And the shop was closed on Monday where I was going, so I'll have to see about getting there another day. I guess quilt shops being open on the weekend, so they close Sunday and Monday for their weekend instead of Saturday, Sunday. So I just found this Key West fabric I had in my stash that I brought along with me. So I knew I was going to make something out of it. Come back around and back stitch. Okay. And then we have to sew one more line. So now we're going to find where that casing opening is again. Right there. And we're going to tuck that up under our needle and find a line that we can be happy with. Somewhere beyond here, so there's my line. Get it up under here. And I have a line right here. So I'll put my needle down until I can get everything arranged. And this bag's big enough I can stick it underneath that arm to keep everything up out of the way. And it's not a real line, it's a pretend line. So right here, I'm going to just zip along here. It's actually not even a line on my bed. It is, I've got a honeycomb pattern on here, so it's a line on the side of the honeycomb I'm sewing along. Scissors are lost again. That's where I caught the bottom thread coming up. Okay. Okay, no back stitch. So all things done except for putting in my drawstring and snipping some threads. So there we go. So let me grab one of my drawstrings here. Not the one from that bag, these. And these are shorter drawstrings. Okay, so I have a safety pin just threaded through, and this was a 2.5 or a 2-inch strip of fabric folded in half, and then the sides folded back into the middle again. So let me thread this along. We're going to stick that right there where your casing is. Pick one side and just start threading that along. A bigger safety pin would be better, but I didn't have a bigger safety pin, so I'm using my little safety pin here. And I'll be right back. All right, so I went ahead and just threaded that drawstring all the way through that casing and tied a knot. So I started on one side. So we're going to put 2 strings in her so we can cinch it up. So put my little safety pin on the end of my other drawstring. You just find your other casing opening there. Stick your safety pin in. Now if you have a bodkin, that'd work better. Mine's at home, so it's nowhere near here. And just gather it up. A bigger safety pin works too. I don't have a bigger one. So it just takes a few minutes to do this. I was just thinking while I was threading this, you can make one a whole lot longer here and put 1 or 2 strings in. So maybe like 36 inches long by, let's say, 40, 36, 40. And you can make a laundry bag. So for college, send your kids off to college with a personalized laundry bag, not the generic one you get at some store. You could get it monogrammed. So that's how big that one could be, down to these tiny little jewelry size ones. And Erica Arnett has another way of doing these bags. So if you look up Erica Arnett on YouTube, she has another way of doing these, and she was making a whole bunch of those little ones, and she was going to do like an advent calendar, put a bunch of them in a basket with little presents in each one. So make you 25 of those and make little advent bags. Now if you have several kids, you're going to have to make 50 or 75 or 100 little bags, so everybody has their own advent bags. Put a little piece of jewelry in there, a little piece of candy, a little toy, so they have something for every day. Or for a secret pal gift, you can make the advent calendar bags. That'd be a cute idea. So Erica's got lots of videos too on all kinds of things. So look her up. You may have already seen her. So this is going to go all the way around the bag, back to the same side that it was open on. I'm getting there. Almost here. Only got that much more to go. So we're getting close to 800 subscribers here. So I've got some more surprise giveaways for 800 subscribers. Another one of my ruby red cups. I had several of those, so that's going to go for 800, plus some other things. So make sure you're telling everybody. And then when we announce that 800 subscriber giveaway, make sure to get on there and leave your comments so you can be eligible to win. I thank everybody who has subscribed and who everybody keeps watching and commenting. I still need to get a lot more quilting done myself. I've got till the end of April here in the location I'm at, and then moving on, so trying to decide where to move to next. Depends on what's available, so don't know where I'll be showing up yet. Didn't get as much done quite here as I had hoped to, but I did sleep a lot. Okay, so that came out the same side, and see how much longer that is. That's okay. I'm just gonna get it there, put them even, and then we're gonna tie a knot and slip that knot up to the side. You could put a little grommet on there or sew that closed. But there is our bigger drawstring bag. So that's big enough you could put some shoes in there to put in your suitcase, or throw some things in. Got long enough straps, you could throw it on your shoulder, take it to the beach, out seashell hunting. It's all washable. Take it to the grocery store. You know, some people don't allow grocery bags, or they don't have disposable grocery bags. So you have to bring your own bag. So if you're just going shopping for a little bit, and there we go. So that has a little bigger ruffle, and then we've got a next smaller size and a next smaller, but those could be any size you wish, just with really 2 to 3 pieces of fabric. And it takes about 10 minutes to make it when you're not talking. And then we can use rope, jute, ribbon, whatever for our drawstring. If you have any questions, get in touch with me, like and subscribe. Go to the Facebook page if you got any questions, post your things, and we will see you at least next Wednesday. Thanks, bye.